What is up, YouTube? Sorry if the microphone or the audio sounds a little weird, and sorry if this looks a little weird that I'm holding a microphone because I forgot to pack my mic stand when I left Cleveland today to go to Baltimore. And oh, by the way, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland right now, which means that I was at Ravens Family Day, which means that I have a reaction to this. So let's jump into some of my thoughts, what I saw at Ravens camp, what Brown fans should be afraid of, and just in general, what the scouting report is of the Baltimore Ravens. The first thing I'm going to say is that there is not enough hype going on with this Ravens secondary. A lot of great, very experienced players on that team. Earl Thomas was on the field practicing full contact, and he looked really good for a guy whose ACL tore apart less than a year ago. He is going to be a factor. He is going to be the road runner out there this season. Believe it. So that Ravens secondary is serious, but they have huge questions at places particularly you wouldn't think that the Ravens would have question marks. So it's a little bit weird because they have some question marks at their pass rushing positions in their 3-4 and inside linebacker. And that's crazy for me to think because for how long did the Ravens have those things sewed up with, franchise stalwarts like Ray Lewis and like Terrell Suggs, but they don't have those guys anymore. Terrell Suggs left. It's the end of the era for that defense, truly. So they're looking for answers at pass rush, and they're looking for answers at inside linebacker. I really didn't see that big of a hole at inside linebacker watching practice today, but the pass rush definitely could have used some help. They could have rushed Lamar. They could have pressured a lot more. And the fact that the quarterbacks didn't necessarily play great for the Ravens, which is something I'm going to jump into later. But the fact that the quarterbacks didn't play great, but they didn't really throw that many interceptions, says a lot about how much pressure that front, well, not even the front four because they're solid inside, but those end rushers had on the practice, which was very little. Another thing is Mark Ingram might not be the impact player you think he's going to be on this offense. I saw he was very limited today, and what we saw of Mark Ingram just flat out was not impressive. So I would say pump the brakes on Mark Ingram. If you're somebody who's going to try to pick him up on your fantasy team, I would not recommend that. But another thing that I noticed, which I was noticing the most hard, if that's even a phrase, oh God, but is Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson definitely showed improvement in some areas, but he also showed that some of his biggest areas, some of his most criticized areas of his passing game, he has not really fixed. Now, he's only in his second year. He has time, but, he has things that he desperately needs to fix as a passer. But the first thing that I saw that he improved, though, was his pocket presence. He looked a lot more comfortable in the pocket. His footwork in the pocket seemed better, especially when it was live and he had a live pocket around him. He still looks to tuck it and run, which is fine because he's Lamar Jackson and he is more dangerous than any other quarterback. Maybe Kyler Murray, but he hasn't proven anything in the NFL when he tucks it and runs it. So he can have that mentality. The other thing I noticed about Lamar Jackson is that he tends to flick the ball a lot. And when I say flick, I mean have a throwing motion where he just does not use his legs to carry through the momentum of the ball, and this really starts to have an effect on his deep balls. Because if you look at Lamar Jackson and just some of his raw traits, he should not be somebody who is terrible at deep ball accuracy, but you look at his mechanics and you start to understand why. He had a bad habit today of as soon as he decided to throw the ball, he would flick it without bringing his legs with him, and that caused a lot of his deep outs to be really short. I mean, he had a lot of short, deep balls that just missed the target flat out, and he had a lot of short, deep balls that might have gotten completed in practice, but in a real NFL game, those are either going to be picks or those are going to be incompletions because those are going to get batted down. So he definitely needs to fix that, and it's such a instinctual thing. It makes me wonder if he is actually going to be able to fix that. That being said, I've always maintained that Lamar Jackson does not have to be a great passer. He does not have to be Tom Brady. He does not have to be Peyton Manning. But things like this can hold him back. But when the Ravens were in red zone situations, this is where it really, really showed how bad how bad some of his throwing mechanics are, and how that takes so much velocity off of his ball, which in turn ends up making him a very uncredible threat as a passer in the red zone. And it continued. The Ravens have had red zone woes for a while, and those woes just continued today. And Lamar Jackson really, really needs to step up that one part of his game. And I don't really know if that's something that's changeable. And don't get me wrong, there's places where his flick it mentality kind of helps him as a passer in the short to intermediate game. And if you're within the 5 yards of the end zone, he will be fantastic because that release is so quick and he's so dangerous as a runner. He's going to almost always be able to get some kind of short slant. He's always going to be able to get some kind of short slant in there because of that unorthodox release. But when it comes to being a drop back passer and making those intermediate to deep throws, it's never going to happen with that release. And I don't know if that's something he's going to change or if that just is who Lamar Jackson is. And another thing that I thought of when I was talking to Engraven was Hollywood Brown was their first round pick, and Hollywood Brown is a guy who you want to stretch the field and somebody you want to be dominant on those intermediate routes. And I just don't know how that combination is going to work with him and Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson is terrible at exactly what Hollywood Brown is good at. So I don't really see that connection there becoming anything serious. But their tight ends, the Ravens tight ends, again, very solid. Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews look like a dynamic duo there at tight end. This offense is going to be good. I think that they're going to definitely be able to run the ball. Gus the Bus Edwards looked very good, looked in better shape than he did last year. And that offensive line is stout. That is a pro-level, big dog offensive line. And as far as their matchup with the Browns go, I think that this Baltimore team is going to be an incredibly tough matchup for the Browns because they are almost a perfect matchup for the Browns. They have a strong secondary. They have a very strong secondary and a very strong interior line, which is going to come in handy against Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. And they're going to be able to stop strong runs up the middle, which is more of Nick Chubb's specialty. So they're perfectly well suited for that. And what their disadvantages aren't things that we can take advantage of. Maybe the lack of pass rushing we could, because if you give Odell more than 3 or 4 seconds against any coverage, he's probably going to get open. But other than that, their strengths match up really well with our strengths and weaknesses. On the offensive side of the ball, they are a great running team and they are a great line. And that kind of runs up with our defensive line, which is going to be a strength. So when it gets to the second level with that offensive line, we're not too sure about our linebacker. You know, the Cleveland Browns aren't really sure about what kind of play they're going to get out of their linebackers this year. And their secondary, while they're a great covering, might be a huge question mark when it comes to tackling. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. The Ravens matchups, I don't care what they do during the season, they are going to be a very tough matchup for the Browns just because of how that roster is built. And actually, before I end this video, I would like to do something I have not done before, and that is throw a challenge out to this awesome and budding YouTube Browns community and the growing NFL YouTube community. For those of you who don't know, there are some great guys who are making Browns-specific content, great guys who are just making NFL-specific content. Guys like Engraven Vids, go subscribe to him. Guys like Mike Keeley, who makes some of the best hype videos and just Browns-related hype stuff on the planet. Go subscribe to him. And then there is a YouTube channel called Film Grinders who does really good breakdowns of all 22 films. And since I am not a film aficionado, admittedly, I would like to know if what I'm seeing in person with Lamar Jackson is something that you guys are also seeing in tape. I would love to see if Lamar Jackson being a flicker of the football, somebody who doesn't properly use the bottom half of his body when he throws, particularly on deep balls. If that is a accurate assessment that I have there, or am I just full of garbage and should stop this YouTube thing? But I would honestly love a Film Grinders video on that. I think the entire community would love it. I think the NFL YouTube community would love it. I think the world would love it. So, you know, no pressure, dude. Just, you know, the whole world would love to see that video. But all jokes aside, I do love all of those YouTube channels, all of these growing Browns YouTube channels. And I think this is going to be a great season for Browns fans who have waited so long to see something this exciting happen. But that is it for this video. I'll be coming back again with another video very soon. Hopefully not in the whole... Hopefully not in like the world's shadiest motels. Like what you saw, please click that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. And during the season, baby, I'm gonna upload like crazy. I cover the Browns, but I also cover all NFL. You're gonna start seeing crazy stuff from the Cardinals probably. I don't know, and you're gonna see it all on this channel. So you should hit that subscribe button, become a subscriber, and if you really like me and you have a buck or two to spare a month and you might want to play fantasy football with me during the season, join that Patreon, man. $1 or more a month gets you into the fantasy football league. Please join as soon as possible. And once you join, message me and let me know you want to play fantasy football so I can add you to the list. There are limited spots available, so please hurry up and get those spots. I think it's down to like 11 spots available because ESPN only lets you put in like 20 people per league. I believe it might be 30. I'm not right. Don't kill me in the comment section. But yeah, if you want to play fantasy football with me, you want to just generally support the show, and you want your name on the bottom of this pretty like cool ticker bar, then yeah, man, go to that Patreon, throw $1 a month. It's $12 a year. It's nothing, man. So do that, reap the benefits, and help this show continue going because I love doing this show. But again, guys, thank you for watching, and have a great day. Have a good night.